Welcome back to I Have Comic Issues, and this is your Sunday, September 21st episode of Comic Issues Daily. Today, James Gunn's latest on DC's Batman casting, Norman Osborn confronts the past, a quick ultimate pulse check, and DCU's next big bad might outdanger Lex. Who's stronger than Superman? Marvel surprise world's finest duo? Deadpool Batman crossover ranked? The economics of blind bags, and G.I. Joe number 11 lands character beats, and we close with the cover price daily shakers. And thank you to our channel sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet, who, if you use code I Have Issues at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first purchase on Ron's website. Link is in the description below. But before we do that, just remember, we are supporting the GoFundMe for Mon Comics. Brandon and his family lost their house in a house fire 2 weeks ago, and we do have the GoFundMe link up here for you, so you can check that out and support if you can. All right, first story of the day, we got the James Gunn is signaling patience and process over splashy headlines for the DCU's Dark Knight, as Chris Agar of comicbook.com reports. The Brave and the Bold script isn't finished yet, and casting follows the script, not the other way around for Gunn. Gunn has acknowledged having a short list and even a pretty big star who wants to roll, but emphasizes screen test and fit above fame. That mirrors how Superman was cast: a wide search, then the right actor for this story. Gunn also doesn't want the DCU Batman film colliding with Matt Reeves' separate Elseworld timeline. With the Batman Part 2 dated to come out October 1st, 2027, the DCU Batman likely lands 2028 or later, giving each version room to breathe. Speculation will churn, but some rumors are already cooling. Alan Ritchson's publicly said he spoke with Gunn, yet doubts he'll be chosen, reinforcing that nothing is close to lock and the net remains wide. The big takeaway: story first, then the Batman who best serves it. Whether a veteran name or a breakout who wins the test screen or the screen test. Go season star or season test or screen test breakout. Who's your Bruce for the Brave and the Bold, and why? All right. And then in some economic news, Blindbagonomics and Comics 101. Blind bags are rapidly reshaping comic pre-orders and retail behaviors. As Rich Johnston of Bleeding Cool reports, the tactic that surged with Skybound Image Battle Beast has spread across publishers. And crucially, orders for Batman 1 didn't clear 500K on blind bags alone. It was a stack of levels, a high-profile relaunch, and a fresh #1 Batman Day timing, a deep variant program, bags included, a giant-sized program promo, and a heavy marketing push. All got Batman #1 over 500K in sales. Issues sold. Publishers are iterating fast. Dynamite is bundling value. Red Sonja's New Year's special 2025 blind bag includes 2 exclusive copies for $15, with similar offerings for Fire and Ice, Necron #1, and a Thundercats holiday special. Titan is pushing uniqueness with Heat Seeker Exposed #4, intimate bags where each cover is effectively one of one via a specialized printing approach. Meanwhile, Omnipress is lampooning the trend with a blind bag-less variant that touts less plastic waste while still playing the variant game. The majors are turning it into events. Marvel's True Believers blind bag for Ultimate Endgame #1 mix premium version variants, homages, and secret exclusives, and even original sketch covers by top artists, paired with guidance for retailers not to open bags early. IDW keeps the barrier low for TMNT 13 at $4.99, while dangling a 1 in 100 Roz blind bag that first reveals villain Ugami. I butchered that name, sorry. a clean spec hook. Whether this becomes a durable lift or a bubble depends on how fast the novelty wears off. Johnston's caution is clear. The more ubiquitous the format, the less special it feels, and the faster sales can fall off a cliff. For now, packaging derives or driven scarcity is clearly changing what retail orders and what collectors chase. Are blind bags healthy for the hobby or a wallet trap? Share your best, worst blind bag pull and what price ceiling you won't cross. Yeah. And then the DCU's villain landscape is shifting with singular masterminds to systematic multiversal level threats. After Superman showed how far Lex Luthor would go, risking global annihilation with a dimensional rift, the new danger isn't just another genius. It's a government power broker with potential access to reality-breaking tech, argues Jackson Hayes from comicbook.com. In Peacemaker Season 2, Rick Flag Sr. moves beyond personal revenge into strategic ambition. By targeting the quantum unfolding chamber, he's not just chasing Peacemaker, he's angling for a tool that can survey or erase other universes. That prospect turns military hardliner into hypothetical existential threat, the kind that could rationalize extreme action as protective policy. The framing makes Flag more dangerous than Lex, not because he's nastier, but because state power plus multiversal access equals leverage that outstrips a single billionaire scheme. If universes look like an immediate risk or an insult to a fallen sun, what stops a newly empowered Argus director from solving the problem at scale? Meanwhile, the DCU keeps seeding threats on multiple fronts. From Princess Lolana Rosevic's Deception and Creature Commandos to Amanda Waller's chilling vision, which suggests a future where villainy isn't centralized but networked across agencies, techs, and timelines. That's a more modern kind of menace and tougher to stop. If Flag Sr. gets the chamber, who checks him? Waller, Peacemaker, or someone else? And how? All right. And then David Harth over at comicbook.com spotlights a turning point for Norman Osborn as Marvel's current Spider-Man. In ASM 12, Norman goes from pummeling the younger spiders to freezing when Spider-Gwen enters the fray, forcing him to confront the ugliest part of his past with Gwen and the fallout that has defined him. Rather than doubling down, Norman stops, reframing his heroic arc around restraint and accountability. The sequence isn't just a fight beat, it's a thesis statement by invoking sin's past and the later retconning that walked it back. The creative team acknowledges the continuity scar and, as Harth puts it, hammers the last nail into the coffin. It's a textual moment of closure that says this Spider-Man run isn't ignoring history. It's actively untangling it to make Norman's current role plausible. Harth argues that facing Gwen's legacy is what makes this controversial status quo click. Norman choosing mercy over violence hints that the story isn't about absolution so much as whether a lifelong abuser can choose differently when it matters. As a result, the spectacle lands with thematic weight and gives readers a clearer reason to ride along with Norman in the suit. If this is a new baseline, ASM's Osborn as Spider-Man era is less gimmicky and more rehabilitation tests under pressure. It may not last forever, but this chapter shows the book isn't ducking the hardest part of Norman's history, and that's why it lands. Does ASM 12 finally close the book on sin's past for you? And should Norman keep the mask or step aside once Peter's back? And then Jackson Hayes over at comicbook.com. Get a lot of sources from comicbook.com. You should really check them out. Spotlighting 4 DCU figures who plausibly outmuscle or outmatch the Man of Steel as he currently stands. The list starts with Ultraman, Luthor's unfeeling clone, who pushes Superman to the brink until Kryptos blinds Luthor Corps' system. Clark hurdles Ultraman into a black hole, a move the piece warns could backfire later. It also elevates Supergirl over Clark for now, arguing Kara's rough and tumble tendencies in her fortress moment with Crypto implies she's tougher and more practiced in a fight. The pick is less about raw Kryptonian stats and more about experience and temperament. Outside the Kryptonian family, Metamorpho is the cheat code. Transmutation lets Rex manufacture kryptonite, neutralizing Clark without a slugfest. And at the top of this list sits in the DCU, according to this article, Eric Frankenstein, whose combination of power, durability, and practical immortality from creature commandos makes him the kind of opponent Superman can't easily put down. Taken together, the list frames strength stronger than Superman as situational, mixing raw power counter to Kryptonian weakness in current DCU context rather than a single bench press ranking. It's a snapshot of where the DCU power board sits right now. In my opinion, I don't think it might be tough for Superman to put Frankenstein down because he is immortal in that, but physically strength, Frankenstein can't touch Superman, let alone keep up with him when he's flying around, in my opinion. Okay. And then Johnston Biondo from comicbook.com makes the case that Marvel's best answer to DC's iconic two-hander isn't the obvious Avengers combo or World Finest duo, isn't the obvious Avengers combo, but Spider-Man and Wolverine. The logic is part brand, part chemistry. Spider-Man is Marvel's flagship draw, while Wolverine is the X franchise most bankable lead. In their banter meets brutality dynamic consistently sparks. What elevates this beyond fan casting is timing. With the fresh co-headlining run putting them side by side again, Marvel effectively has a banner team-up positioning to mirror the world's finest role without borrowing the name. It's a recognition the most potent pairing aren't always the most diplomatic. Sometimes it's contrast that sells. The argument also sidesteps the Cap and Iron Man default, pointing out that while those two define Avenger leadership, they don't hit the same pop chemistry notes when it comes to personalities clash and crowd-pleasing escalation. Spidey and Logan, on the other hand, naturally create stories that feel big and messy in all the right ways. If Marvel wants a consistent, broad appeal team-up that can anchor events or periodic minis, this duo checks the boxes. Brand recognition, tonal balance, and a track record of fun collisions. The new book simply formalizes what readers have long felt. These two are the house heavyweights, two-hander. If you crown Marvel's world's finest, would you go with Spidey, Wolverine, Cap and Tony, or another duo? And what book would you give them? All right, and then we got from Marcus Helminiak, another name I butchered, I apologize, ranks the bite-sized crossover bundle around Deadpool and Batman and lands on an unexpected number one in the crossovers, and that is Captain America and Wonder Woman. The pairing clicks because it explores how two paragons sharpened each other. Symbols of justice formed in World War II who lift each other up instead of clashing for spectacle. The headline act, Deadpool and Batman, takes the runner-up spot for getting the tone right. Deadpool's barrage of gags never flattens Batman. Instead, it highlights their contrast while weaving in a sharp Batman-Joker-Deadpool dynamic that feels built for rematch potential. Mid-list entries spotlight chemistry and craft. Daredevil and Green Arrow nails mirroring voices and a smart Jack Murdoch glove payoff. Jeff the Land Shark and Crypto leans wholly into cozy, Haiju Drawn Joy, and Rocket Raccoon and Green Lantern goes maximalist with a GL ring rocket and a cheeky parallax twist for Hal. The deep cut logo fusion is brief but memorable, while Miller's Wolverine Batman reads like a novelette that doesn't live up to the billing. It's all part of the rare Marvel DC crossover window. Deadpool Batman this fall, followed by Batman Deadpool, a once in a decade collab aimed at drawing in both lapsed and current readers. Did they rank your favorite team up correctly? Which crossover would you put at number 1? And what new Marvel DC pairing should be next? And then the next story, we got this chapter leans on relationships more than hardware. As Collier Jennings noted from AIPT in G.I. Joe number 11, the Baroness, often framed as ice-cold tactician, is forced into a rare moment of vulnerability when her parents become leverage, pushing her to work in lockstep with CoverGirl rather than bulldozing the problem alone. That team up makes the inevitable clash with Major Blood sting harder, while Raptor's intimidation rises. The personal stakes beyond typical Joe and Cobra skirmishes. Across the board, the issue contrasts trust and friction, clutches loyalty to Autobot Hound, and the choice to loop in risk. Is the inversion of Cobra Commander and Destro fragile alignment? Is the inverse of Cobra Commander and Destro's fragile alignment. Those mirroring dynamics give the finale its shape. One side its strength through candor, and other survives through stalemates and sets the table for a wider conflict. Visually, Andrea Milani and Lee Lawfridge turn the needle to spectacle. Milani's staging, especially the 2-page Hound drop-in, sells scale without losing character beats, while Lawfridge lightly flips from shadow-drenched assault to warmly lit streets, cued mood shifts at a glance. The result is brisk action that feels grounded in character, and as an arc cap, it reads like a mission accomplished. Bonds tested, threats elevated, and a clear runway for the next move. If the book keeps prioritizing human and Autobot connections alongside the explosions, the momentum should carry clearly into the next storyline. Who's your MVP in the current G.I. Joe Cobra lineup, and what single moment in this issue sold you on them? Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, and we got Legion of Comics. He's here for the Paragons. And he heard there's 2, and Miller's story was easily his favorite. Talking about the Frank Miller Wolverine Deadpool. That's cool, Mark. And then we got the last story of the day is the CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report. And Golden and Bronze Age Heat leads today's board with Neil Adams' Batman keys anchoring the top end. A Batman number 227 from 1970 at a CGC 8.5 touched $2,900. And Batman 251 from 1973 posted a $1,080 price tag in a CGC 9.0, underscoring steady demand for Adams classics. Silver Age Marvel also showed resilience as Tales to Astonish hit number 35 from 1962 and 44 from 1963. Each cleared $1,800 at a mid-grade. Modern and late Bronze kept pace via character first keys. New Mutants 98 from 1991 and a CGC 9.8 landed in at $1,065, while Werewolf by Night number 32 from 1975 hit $995 in a CGC 7.0. Healthy numbers that reflect ongoing appetite for a fan favorite debut. On the indie superhero hybrid front, Invincible number 11 from 2004 marked in at $1,035 in a CGC 9.8 and was flagged top dollar, signaling upward pressure on an early run high grades. 2 atypical movers added texture. Call the Conqueror number 4 from 1972 posted in at $1,199 in a CGC 9.8, also a top dollar, reminding sellers that pristine 70s sword and sorcery can pop. And outside the traditional lane, V Friends, which is from Gary Vanderchuck, which was released in 2024, and a J. Scott Campbell limited to 500. A V Friends number 1 from 2024, which had artist J. Scott Campbell, and it was limited to 550 issues, hit $1,175 in a raw near mint, showing brand crossover variants can command premium when the supply is tight. Net takeaway: the market remains diversified. Adams era pillars, Silver Age Marvel, mid grades, and modern high grade specimens are all drawing strong money. If you're positioning inventory, pairing blue chip, bronze, and silver with a few targeted moderns, looks like a balanced play today. Which move surprised you the most? Adams Batman prices, the Tales to Astonish, mid-grade strength, or the Invincible Cole top dollar flags? All right. And just to remind everybody that today at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, I am going to be interviewing. I'm always saying introducing, but he's been around on YouTube for a long time. Interviewing, collecting with Durs on Comic Channel Origins. We're going to talk about his growth from 0 subscribers up to where he is now on YouTube and how he's done all that. So please join us, ask questions. Yep, we're going to be talking to Durs. Please join us. It'll be a lot of fun. And then that's all I got for Comic Issues Daily for September 20th, 2025. Drop your casting pick, hot takes, and market moves in the comments. All sources are linked in the description. And thanks to Ron's Comic Closet. And use code IHAVEISSUES at checkout for 20% off your first purchase. And we'll see you tomorrow. More issues, the comic kind. Thanks.